Okay.
Before I get into viewing the VOD and all that, is there anything that you want to let me know beforehand, like pointing out like you felt like you struggled particularly with this, or something that you want me to just try and look out for?
Mostly like I struggle. This is a thing I struggle with in the Palutena matchup too. Like I struggle with the 50-50s from dash grabs to dash attacks,
Mm-hmm.
especially since Joker's like it goes really far, so
Yeah.
I get hit a lot.
Okay.
And I also have a problem where I'll do a toss latch and I'll get hit for it, but that's just my situational awareness.
Yeah.
In this first game, I get down aired because I don't recover low enough. Like I
Okay.
already so
All right. Yeah, I will let you know if I see anything. It sounds like just from you mentioning things that it might be more you're neutral and not really understanding when you can attack or when you can't, and kind of feeling
right,
just a little lost. So I'll see if
right.
we can point anything out. Um, I personally think, while I get into this real quick, I personally think this is an even matchup. I know some people have
Yeah.
said Joker can be a little tough for Olimar, but it's one of those like you do have to take it slow. And realistically, Joker doesn't have an approach option. His dash attack is unsafe, and he does have the 50-50s with things like dash grab, down tilt, or whatever it is. But you can usually, if you're adjusting your spacing accordingly, you can usually call those out well enough. Because if it is, even if you are spacing like a spaced F smash, he still can't punish that on
Mhm.
shield and things like that. And then being a bit more proactive with your like short hop forward airs to call him out of your short hop purple side beats, things like that. But I'll
Right.
see how you go about it. Like right here, you're kind of just like playing the sitting back game. I think that's fine. And just
Mhm.
like get the latch damage. Like try and read his jumps too. I'll stop right there. Like if he's jumping
Yeah.
up and he's trying to retreat, so he'll like shoot a bullet and then he'll run away. Like throw your Pikmin preemptively where he's gonna be. So maybe you throw one down low down here on like the first level, and then you jump and throw another one, especially something like a yellow that's either gonna have
Right.
the additional height to it, or something like the white, which is going to cover that horizontal distance faster. Then you can catch him while he falls, and then you're kind of covering two different areas at the same time. And
Right.
during that time, he's going to have to deal with one or the other. And then if you want to maybe try and play for a more aggressive play style, you can start inching forward almost while he's dealing with that, because he's going to have to respond to something, whether it be dodging those Pikmin or you coming in maybe with a forward air, or just kind of threatening him with your own presence.
Right.
It definitely does feel like you're more on the passive end of like the neutral. Like you don't wanna be the first one to commit that hard.
Yeah, I think honestly a lot of that comes from Smash 4 where like I just didn't want to throw out aerials in Smash 4 because, I had
Yeah.
priority and stuff. Yeah, that's where I get spiked.
Yeah.
Yep.
um no, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll go back there real quick. That makes sense, not obviously wanting to deal with that. With Olimar, especially in this game, you kind of just have to have that confidence that like I'm going to win in this interaction, or I know how this is going to work in this interaction. And it's hard
Right.
because stuff doesn't always pan out with Olimar, but especially with the
Mhm.
aerials, just being confident. Yellows are a great way to kind of boost that confidence because they're additional range. Things like yellow back air
Right.
are super super big, and you can just outspace a lot of people. So just like working on getting there, not necessarily having to play aggressive, but like when you're either practicing or you're in bracket matches coming up, just try and like get out of your comfort zone a little bit and be like, let's see how far I can push my presence on my opponent, because they're going to give you a certain level of respect because you're Olimar and they don't want to take all that damage.
Right. Yeah, I do feel like I give up stage control really easily too. So.
All right, so you get the jab lock here. You give Marcin. It's the usual. I do want to say right there, I don't know
Mhm.
if it would have worked because he was kind of high enough. He might have still had the Arsene invincibility or the Arsene up B invincibility because it's like 1 to 20 something. But
Right.
down tilt is a very good tool for hitting the two frame on Joker up B when he has Arsene. It just pokes
Mhm.
him a lot, and that's not the most committal thing. Down air can also work too. I do my fair share of down air as well, but that's another
Mhm.
option where you can kind of just throw it out, see if it works. If not, maybe you could retreat or try and let's trap him.
Right.
So like there, that's a good example of what you were talking about, where you kind of just like gave away stage control. You're like, okay, all right, yeah, I let him come back. I go for a forward smash, and then you just kind of keep running back, and you have that purple, and you're not using it to force a
Right.
response out of him. You're instead retreating, acting as if you don't have any tools. And it's not bad to run away and try and put that distance away from you, but when you need to be able to change your play style, definitely for the purple, because it's going to allow you an extra set of pressure. But like, say you throw the purple at him instead of running away, or you run away a little bit and throw it in that mid-ranges
Right.
area, and then you can be like, oh, maybe I can run in with a dash tech, a down tilt, a forward air, a grab, because your red's probably going to be ready to go in that meantime,
Mhm.
because all the time has passed. So just like really paying attention to the lineup there and going, okay, I have a purple now. I'm able to switch up my playstyle, and it's gonna make him be a lot more aware of what you're doing, or if not, he's gonna get punished super hard because he's gonna have to be watching your lineup a bit more.
Right.
Get caught there. Yeah, that's just an unfortunate back air into down air. Like you said, you didn't recover the best in that instance.
Mhm.
And with a character like Joker, that's just how it can be sometimes. So just being a bit more
Yeah.
careful. Air dodge is really good with Olimar too, so you can also try and do that if you have a double jump. It's like air dodge to the ledge.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I just yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't even get dared again the entire site after that, which is
Gotcha.
funny.
Um, this is like it sucks because like recovering against our Sin Joker is so hard as Olimar if he's good about it because he can kind of you can't go to the side of him because his back air is so easy to use and so like
Right.
quick and easy, but you also can't just like come at him from that weird bottom angle. So you might be
Right.
better off just trying to go at the diagonal, like right in between, like here, where you could probably dodge a back air if you need to, but he's also not going to be able to down air you without you being able to juke it at the last second.
Right. That makes sense. Especially since I had one. It looked like
Yeah,
so.
that's all.
Funnily enough, I think I almost bring this game back too.
Okay, should be interesting to see then. Yeah, he's just playing it, safe as he should. He has a lead, and you're down a lot, so you are gonna have to be the aggressor here.
Right.
Um, and that you can definitely struggle in those instances as Olimar if the opponent's playing like a very specific way. But that's where it really comes down to just like mixing up a lot of your tools, really trying to push the limits of certain Pikmin like purples, so you do get these aggressive tools. Like watching it right now, you're not really shifting your gameplay so much based on your lineup. You're kind of sticking to this very static play style, and while it can work, it's
Mm.
not like you're almost limiting yourself in how you're going about things.
Right. Yeah, like you were saying with like the yellow being good for,
The
any
range
moves.
and yeah, and things like that. You have these ways to mix it up. Back throw makes sense. Another thing you can do there as well, for jokers who aren't super privy to it, or just players in general, since he was
Mhm.
out of our sin, he's gonna have to tether to recover, most likely. So what you can do is you can run off, you can purple side B into the stage, and if he tethers and he's not careful, it can catch him.
Right.
You can while after you purple side B into the stage, you can then also your back is to him now, which means you can set up for a back air if he's drifting in. You can jump back air, things like that, and it sets up this multi-level like coverage to where you're ready to
Right.
attack him. You want to try and keep it as like complex as possible. A lot of the time when you have a character like Joker who's got such a um, like large set of options with his gun dash thing that's like an air dodge and regular air
Yeah.
dodge, then the tether cancels. You need to be a bit creative in getting in there.
Mhm.
Also, because you just went off and you went for the regular, I think it was forward air, and then he ended up rebels guarding it. So just being a bit more tricky on your timing can go a long way.
Right.
So I think you're doing exactly what you should be at this point, kind of just like playing this like sit back game. Like because he's kind of getting antsy the way he's running in, and he really has no reason to do that. You're able to just get this free damage off side Bs and other whiffs and things like that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't mind when he was camping me because it was like,
and you're also going to be able to get certain Pikmin lineups, and it's just going to make things a lot easier on your end. If he's playing in this weird like I need to approach sometimes I need to and all that jazz. Like if he's playing hard runaway, it's obviously very difficult with a character like Joker has high mobility. But so I want to go back there and touch down on a couple things.
yeah.
So one thing, you're in general just from this one game, and it might change depending on more games. You're not the most decisive when you're in a lot of these actions. I don't know if it's maybe you're like you were saying you're kind of unsure from that Smash for Olimar like habit where it's like okay I have to wait to attack because if there's a hitbox it'll clank, or if you're
Right.
just not super confident in maybe being able to punish something out of shield or whatever it is. But there's a lot of times where you're delaying a whiff punish or something like that where you would be able to attack it. Olimar's not the fastest. He's got like I like to consider it like a medium level startup. His smashes are decent startup. They're not super fast. His out of shield options decent startup, not super fast. Aerial same thing. And a lot of the time that's good enough, especially on attacks like Joker dash attack or a whiff smash or something. And even if you're not dropping shield and then going for a smash, you can still go for a fair, go for a nair, go for a back air. And there's actually an instance coming up that I'll show you where you, I believe, go for a forward air and it ends up not working out. But if you would have gone for neutral air, it would have worked. And I'll show you exactly how that happens.
Sure.
So here as well, actually, this is like, you're kind of like cycling through your Pikmin real quick off stage here. I think, you probably could have like side bead with at least the purple, like once you got to it, and kind of just like put something out at him. Or maybe throw like the blue and then drift out and then recover the ledge or something. But you're kind of like cycling your Pikmin, and you don't actually need all three at this point in time because you're not far enough away, or you're not on the stage. So you don't need all three. Generally, when you're in the air, you don't want to have too many. So you want to be able to just like, in the event you do get knocked off again or something, or you get clipped off stage, you're gonna want to have less to recover. Then you're going to want to try and stop him. So just like throwing some now is not only going to put them on stage, it's going to make him deal with something in some way. Maybe he counters it. Okay, you can dodge these things. But the purple especially is going to make him force that or respect that hitbox, and it's going to give you a little bit extra leeway to get in instead of just maybe going for a fair there, which didn't really do much.
Right.
So here he actually, I believe, he down airs your shield, and then
I think
you go for the fair, and that misses because he spot dodges. No, he goes for a down smash with lower hitbox. But had you nared, it probably would have been better to hit him because you would have kind of rose as he was going up, and you would have had that nice multi-hit. And keep in mind, fair and nair are the same. What's up?
You mean nair here, or like in place of the fair?
In place of the fair.
Okay.
So like you would have done a rising nair out of shield instead of a rising fair, and that would have possibly allotted you more coverage because it would have been that multi-hit. It would have been able to catch him when he comes back up from the down smash, things like that, and it was going to be the same startup as that forward air.
Right.
And then here, you're kind of just scared, which is understandable. It's Arsene Joker. You're at 120 last stock. He just kind of catches you rolling around frantically, and then you end up getting back aired. Just being confident in what you're doing. Rising Nair is a good option out of shield if someone's like jumping around you because it doesn't have a lot of knockback. So if he does counter, it's probably not going to kill you. It's good for a multi-hit. So if he drifts into it, it can catch him. It can pop him up for potential combos depending on how you land on it or how you land with it. Oh, excuse me, and things like that. But just kind of being like, hey, get away from me. You have to put out these hitboxes to force him off of you, or he's just going to stay on top of you, and he's going to keep you in that pin down disadvantage state.
Right.
So you end up going Smash full game 2. I didn't touch down on the first game, but I personally am not a huge fan of PS2 against Joker. I think you can do it. But the reason I don't like it is it gives him a lot of room to run. I feel like the platforms are pretty good for his drag down mix-ups, or his drag down like combos. I do like Smashville in the matchup. I think it's pretty good. I also like Battlefield. Just things that make it a little bit harder for him to use his bullets a lot, like the downward gun.
Yeah, I think he banned like Battlefield FD or something.
Yeah,
like that.
That's a fair stage thing to ban. I know FD is very dependent on the Joker. Smashville's a good alternative because that platform can also provide some more coverage for you. Just like knowing how to work that space is going to be really important. Pretty good. Standard stuff, to be honest. A lot of the time, it's like playing that waiting game. I like that single Pikmin grab there to have the lowest amount of lag, and then you were able to bait him out from that distance.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunate SD.
Yeah,
but
I think that was the air dodge flub.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have a bad grabbing habit too.
It's a hard habit to break from Smash 4.
Oh, it really is.
But honestly,
especially since I was playing in Brawl, that grab was bonkers.
Yeah, it was. I will say I feel like from this game and the last game, you've generally been playing pretty good, aside from the things I pointed out. A lot of the losses are from either getting killed massive, like some massive deficit that you take from like a early down air or something, an Arsene, or like an SD. Right. So you have a general good game plan. The biggest things are just being more decisive, not letting yourself kind of get into that scared play style where you're kind of just like rolling frantically trying to get away.
Yeah, I really need to keep stage control. Like that's a big thing. Like I'll throw a white on them and then I'll like run away. It's
Yeah. No,
like
it needs to be like, okay, I threw a white on. Now you're gonna deal with it, and I'm gonna be right there when you try to.
right. Would you say up smash is more of like a whiff punish tool in this like matchup? Like
Um,
would you say it's something you throw out in neutral or?
you can. You need to be careful because I'm pretty sure Joker can shield grab it every time.
Hmm.
Um, However, if you have a Pikmin on him, that can adjust the timing and can actually make it safe if it's a purple.
Right.
Um, but it's more of like a call out tool. Like you're near him and you think he's gonna jump or you think he's gonna drop shield or something, so you do it. Because a
Okay.
lot of the times if he's grabbing you, it's not the end of the world. He's probably not gonna kill you
Right.
off at a lot of percents. He might put you in a disadvantageous spot, but you can usually be if you're confident in getting down from there because he doesn't juggle like some of the more dangerous characters like a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Palutena.
It's like he's Palu or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
So like getting grabbed isn't the end of the world. Just be careful about it. Don't. It's not your shield pressure tool. You're not going to be using it all the time and things like that. But just
Right.
mixing it up, calling him out when he's up close. Because they like to jump a lot, or they like to like do these bursty options. So you just stop him as he's coming in.
Right. That makes sense.
Like there, you went for a roll away. You probably could have back aired just because like you were both kind of hesitant. And then you go to shield, and I feel like
Right.
had you gone for the back air, it would have at least threatened him a little bit. And you might have
Right.
been able to just be like, "Hey, respect me," or you could have drifted out with it. And obviously, had he played it perfectly, he probably could have punished or something. But it's
Right.
it's a an additional way to kind of like force some response out of him that's not just you running away.
He also dash attacked me like I
Yeah,
was talking about with the whole ledge thing.
yeah.
And then
It
he gets those
it's
really funny.
important. It's important to like. It's very hard also to be able to know like when you just should not side B because like it seems
Right.
like it's good and then you have these fast characters who just break that zone immediately and punish you.
Right. Yeah. Joker is so fast.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The counter thing there, that's just one of those like you know he read you, knowing you were going to go for that. You just got to be a bit more aware when you're fighting a character with a reflector.
Hmm.
Maybe going for a down tilt or even just like a forward air or something, just something to knock him off. I definitely don't blame you for going for that forward smash. I think it was a pretty fine option under most circumstances. He was just ready for it.
Right.
Alternatively, you can go for a grab and just try and put him back off stage, and then that's not going to get
Right.
countered at all. And it's still going to work if he does shield. That was a pretty good bear. Waiting it out.
Mhm.
So like right there, retreating back, I think that's fine. You kind of got the extent of that combo. Um, like you run back, and then from there though, you just got to be careful. Like you're flickering your shield against him because you're kind of respecting like a dash attack or something, but you're
Mhm.
also just like not putting up much else of a response. Because you're not holding shield. So like if you see him running, you might be able to jump out of there. You're instead just kind of flickering it as almost if you were trying to parry. And at that point,
Mhm.
you're going through the shield drop frames where he's just like, okay, I'll just come grab you.
Right. Yeah.
Like don't give him too much respect. Like that was another example, like where yeah, he did have his side B explode there, but you could have been, maybe getting ready to either down tilt the ledge, run off purple side B into it, because his up B snaps as well with Arsene. You could try and do something else, but instead you
Right.
opt to go center stage, and this is definitely one of those like, how are you playing Olimar things where it's like it's not necessarily bad to go center stage if you're confident that you can outplay him, but when you have him at disadvantage or something like that, it's you know being ready to press that advantage state a bit more
Mhm.
is an important skill that you're going to want to have, I guess, especially against a character like Joker, where neutral can be kind of scary. And then when you're
Right.
fighting them and they have Arsene especially, oftentimes they like to throw the side B out as they're recovering to force it onto the ledge, and that's where you kind of want to either bait it out and dip, like, run out real quick, bait it out, and then run back in and punish them or something like that. But just being like knowing that it's going to happen is one of those things that like just all Joker players are going to do it a lot of the time when they're at certain spacings is going to be an important thing. So you can recognize it and then plan accordingly for it.
Right.
Good recovery going into the stage. You got a big greedy there. Yeah, you definitely were kind of just like that was one of those instances where you kind of like I don't want to commit until I'm really confident I'm going to be able to hit him. Like a lot
Right.
of rolling, a lot of running away, things like that, and that can work. Just it's kind of like a ticking time bomb at that point because if you're not confident, you're not making these decisive plays when they're giving you these small openings. If you're waiting for a big one, you had he not gone for that down smash, for example, you might have ended up losing if he just kind of kept playing this like bear heavy neutral or something like that and kind of messing you up. So just really paying attention to the opponent, being like, okay, you didn't do anything massive, but you gave me an opening. Maybe you back aired and then shielded because you were scared, and then I grabbed you, something like that, right? And be ready
Right.
to know what they're gonna do after like their single hit, because a lot of these in this game especially, it's so like players are so hardwired to do something and then do it right after. It's like attack, spot dodge,
Right.
land,
Yeah.
shield, things like that. And you want to be able to get a read on those patterns and understand how each individual character does things. Kind of like how when we up smash, we spot dodge a lot of the time. It's like exploit that the general character habits from them, and it's going to take you a long way. And especially like at the local level, which obviously
Mhm.
this is, you're going to
Mhm.
be able to really exploit those skills out of a player more so than you would for someone like MKLeo, who's going to be a lot more privy to that type of knowledge.
Right.
Town and City also, I think, a fine stage. I actually like this one against Joker as well. It's probably my favorite big stage against him.
Yeah, I got clipped with a dash attack. That thing is just yeah.
It catches you when you never expect it. It's you're like, oh, I'm safe from this distance, and the next thing you know, he's like across the stage, and you're like, oh, all right.
Right. What can I do about it though? Like, should I draw F smashes or something?
You shield it. If you shield it, you're and I know it's a mix-up thing, but you kind of need to think about it this way, right? So Joker's only going to be dash attacking from a certain distance. They're
Hmm.
not like obviously they can be closer within that said distance, but like from a certain point they are not going to dash attack. So you need to learn that distance, almost kind of like how in Smash 4 Fox was too, where it's like he's going to dash attack at this distance. So you need
Right.
to really pay attention to that distance and kind of almost microspace and prepare yourself. Maybe try and keep yourself at the maximum range of that distance if you're unsure of what he's going to do. And when you are closer, be a bit ready, be a bit more ready to swing, maybe with a jab, maybe with a down tilt, maybe with a forward air. You can do
Right.
forward smash if you want, but you just have to really pay attention to how close he is to you and get an idea of what he's doing. And then every time he's dash attacking, every time he's shield grabbing you, you're going to want to make these little mental notes where you're like, okay, he dash attacked just now. All right, he might try it again, or he might. All right, he did it 2 times now, so now he's probably going to shield grab me, things like that. Or
Right.
if he notices you shielding a lot, that's when he's going to want to go for these dash grabs. So maybe play a bit more movement-based attacking, neutral, where you're kind of just putting out these hitboxes, so he's going to be more likely to want to swing through it as opposed to grab.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, because Palutena gives me similar problems.
Mm-hmm. With her, it's a bit different just because she has the invincible dash that can be a little bit more tough. But I find a
Hmm.
lot of like side B incorporated into your movement to not only lag her attacks, excuse me, but also just make her respond to something is going to be really important. Yellows are really good in that matchup. Yellow fair, yellow bear, purples, so
Hmm.
you can throw them like over slash up, like at her top half to where she's not going to be able to cover them that easy, and then you kind of put on this pressure on her, and then you can go in and be the aggressor. Pairing is really important as well. I feel against her because she's so oftentimes spacing with fairs, bears, and dash
Right.
attacks. And if you're confident in your movement, if you're kind of like matching her tempo almost, you're going to be able to like keep up with her in a lot of ways. Yeah, her shield pressure is better, but after she hits you once, she doesn't have that much. She has a grab, but if she's grabbing, then you know how you can get out of there, right?
Right.
So it's going to be a lot more different for you.
Plus, if she grabs you at like 50 or something, like you're not really gonna
Yeah,
take a lot, right?
yeah. So it's not the end of the world in that case. So just really paying attention to what they're doing, being ready to call them out. Like if they want to jump to pressure you, you stop them on their jump because most characters aren't going to rise with their aerial like you are. They're going to fall with it.
Mhm.
So you can it's Ike is the best example. Ike doesn't rise with Nair, so he jumps, he nairs you, then he jumps again, you hit him that time as he's rising.
Right. That makes sense.
Like right there was a good example of like you were kind of just a little too slow because you were scared. You know,
Right.
you miss it, and then it's like you shield instinctively, not because you're not letting yourself so much react and evaluate the information as it comes. You're kind of like
Right.
flinching and then going, oh wait, that didn't happen. All right, I need to be able to try and attack. So just I don't know how much you're practicing, how much you're competing these days. But the more you do it, the more you kind of go, okay, this is how the scenario is. I can't be scared. Or if
Mhm.
you do shield in that instance, don't drop shield in forward smash. Get out of there with a fast option. Jump out of shield back here. It's gonna be faster, right? You're not gonna have to go through shield drop.
Right. Yeah, that makes
Just
sense. Yeah.
once. What's up?
Oh, yeah, I think I have a similar issue when we're eating ledge options. Is I'll throw a F smash preemptively when they're
Mm-hmm.
on the ledge,
Yeah,
and then instead they'll do jump get up and like hit me out of it
yeah,
or something.
and
I have a
it's fine to do those preemptive options in some cases. A lot of the times, I will down smash at the ledge to bait them into doing something because I know it's so lagless, and then I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, let me shield, let me run away, let me do this. I baited you because I went for my least option, least aggy option, or I'll like short hop bear, but I'll cancel the bear right before the hitbox comes out, so it looks like they're gonna get hit, and then I can hit them when they try and do something else, right?
Right.
So you can go for those preemptive options, but kind of knowing, like, you want to know what all their available options at any given time are, and then once you know that, you can better educate yourself on how to deal with certain things.
Right.
Back throw. I feel like there's a lot of times I'm noticing too where you're kind of you either throw Pikmin or you move. You don't do it a lot at the same time, and that can make it a bit easy to deal with. Like if you're moving, stop, throw Pikmin, move, stop, throw Pikmin, it's a lot easier to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to avoid these, as opposed to if you're moving and throwing Pikmin. If you're drifting in and out and you're throwing Pikmin, okay, now he's having to deal with you drift in while a Pikmin's coming in, right? Because you can side
Right.
B and it doesn't hinder you at all. Like obviously you're in an animation, but it's not going to like slow you down at all. So you can do it while
Right.
you're retreating. You can do it while you're jumping. You can do it in all these different scenarios, and it's gonna make it a lot more annoying for him, if anything.
Hmm.
And he won't be able to just like wait and then kind of match your like start and stop gameplay.
Right. That makes sense. I do notice that like you and DeBuzz tend to like drift back a lot
Yeah,
when
you wanna keep
matching.
yourself moving. You don't wanna be like a predictable target for them.
Right.
Like right there, if he's up there on that platform, you don't have to approach, but like when you had a yellow there, you could kind of just like maybe went under the right platform over here and kind of just like teased him with an up air, be like, hey, I'm here, respect this hitbox, get
Right.
down. Because like he was gonna come, he came down eventually when he got Arsene, but you kind of, you don't want to give him too much freedom up there. Like that that whole interaction was a good example of like you kind of like not doing something while you're moving. You're kind of single focused on the movement, and because of that, you let yourself get hit. You're not throwing the Pikmin while you're doing something. You're not like you're kind of see how you just like drifted in there, and you're kind of just like, okay, I'm here. You're not attacking. You're not doing anything. You're not air dodging.
Right.
So that's something that you'll have to work on to really like help split up the focus and do those multiple things at the same time, so that you're not getting caught in this disadvantage as much. Because you have to be
Right.
so like careful with Olimar and disadvantage, or else it just spirals out of control. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Oh, yeah.
I
That's
I
probably.
hate when that happens. So like at this point, you don't have any rage, so it might not kill on town, but like you can start thinking about maybe getting a little bit more percent and then killing with white up throw.
Right.
Just because you have the extra grab distance, and he's probably not going to think of it in the same way that he would be considering something like a blue up throw.
Blue, like a blue, yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that distance is like massive
it's
too.
yeah, it's insane how good it is. So, so like you get knocked off stage here, and you kind of go for a purple side B, and then you drop down, and you go for a fair. That could work, but the problem with this, and specifically, is you're kind of rising, and so you're at the apex of your jump almost when you go for this fair, and you're right on top of him. And while
Mhm.
fair is safe on shield if spaced properly, it's not going to work in this case, right? So what you may have been
Right.
better off
Yeah, it's
doing,
only safe when you're falling, right?
yes, it depends on how close you are to the ground. Generally, you want to be
Okay.
falling with it, right?
Right.
But what you could have done here is you could have purple side bead, air dodge through him. You could have purple side bead, nared or up bead, and then maybe try to nair on top of him to shield poke, and then cross him up,
Mhm.
things like that. But like the
Right.
fair is the instinctive option, but he just shield grabs you because you fall so slowly, you're not gonna hit the ground in time.
Yeah, sometimes I definitely feel like I'd do better if I just played a little slower.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like it's if you look at any group of Olimar players, they all have very different play styles.
Hmm.
And you're not going to find like one that is the best. It kind of just matches your general play style. And obviously, you want to you want to pull from all parts of those, playing aggro, playing defense, mid range, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like, you need to be able to identify what your strengths are. Go, okay, maybe I tend to play better defensively normally, and then make that the core element of your gameplay. And then just go, okay,
Hmm.
if I'm weaker in the aggressive state, I need to really work on refining that, especially for myself. Like, I personally think I'm better at offense than defense. Um,
Right.
so while I do play campy from time to time, I don't think it's my strong suit at all, but I will do it at some point. And then when I get a chance, I'll go that aggro. I'll kind of get back into my natural, like, yes, I can really get in on you and do these type of things and make these plays.
Right.
But identifying those about you is important. And I think, like you were saying, you do tend to play slower, and that definitely matches how you're playing with these games. You like to stay back, throw Pikmin. So the next natural step is kind of incorporating your movement and making it all very streamlined. You don't want to start and stop and segment your play, because then you're gonna, not only are you wasting a lot of like mental processing power having to so like easily or so like meticulously break everything apart, but it's also making it a lot easier for your opponent, as opposed to if you were very streamlined and everything's fluid and you're constantly making these decisions and changes on the fly.
Right. That makes sense.
So I definitely think like that set was a good example of like you just he, aside from like the early cheesy kills or whatever from the down air, the SD or whatever, I think your biggest thing was like um not not like not respecting yourself enough to where you were able to commit fast. You were passing up a lot of punishes, um, kind of leaving a lot of downtime in your play in general, especially in regards to the movement.
Right.
Just being a bit more creative and confident and being ready to call him out.
Right.
And that's and just because you're attacking doesn't mean you're aggressive per se, because you're not going in. It's kind of like a get off of me option. Like I tend to swing a lot in disadvantage because I like to get opponents off me, and it's not something you want to do all the time. But just being more
Right.
confident to say get off me. I have these transcendent aerials. You have to respect them.
Hmm.
That's important. So what do you feel? What do you feel was the big thing for this set?
For the
For
set we're about to watch.
yeah, for Freak.
Okay, so like I have this. It's probably tied to the whole aerial thing again. Like, I kind of throw away game one. I actually take him to game five, so like it's actually like a relatively close set. But what he does is like I'll go to up air, and he'll drop down and like back air me, and I run into those situations a lot where I'm trying to pressure someone above me, but they fall faster than I do, and they just
Mm-hmm.
hit me. I'm not really sure why that happens. I'm not sure if maybe I'm not fast falling my up airs or something,
Um,
or slow in the air too.
I'll
So,
if I see anything, I'll point it out. Some
right.
important things to keep in mind when you're on a stage that has platforms that maybe they can abuse to fall through and then mix up their timings. You have to understand how they're going to use them and start almost punishing them for trying to rely on them. A good example is like you know how like Crom and Roy up air are super good landing options. They'll like to fall through platforms and start those and shield pressure you.
Right.
Um, well, those are really good. So you adjust how you handle them near platforms. You go, okay, I'll run at the platform. We're both running out of platform. I know you're going to jump up there, so then maybe you jump up there with them and try and hit them, and then you don't go into the platform and things like that. You need to kind
Right.
of match where they're going as opposed to falling into where they want. But we'll see how you handle this stuff, and I'll see what I can
Mm.
find. Oh, I gotta mute this. So like right there, I think was a good example of like you kind of just pulled back when you didn't necessarily need to. And I'm not saying you had to go in, but like maybe just like some side B pressure I feel like would have been really good. Like right here, you up smash him, you up air, and then he air dodges, and then you immediately opt to run away instead of being like, okay, let me sit in this mid range where like I'm the better character, and then just like throw some Pikmin. I don't know. I'm sure the up B was an accidental error there, but just like
Yeah, that was supposed to be a latch.
just being more confident in that.
Right.
And with a character like Incineroar, like it's fine to just like keep throwing him away and then just like treat him like a low tier. Just like
Right.
you're slow, you're big. Oh well.
Right.
Like you can't do anything about it. I think Olimar like destroys Incineroar.
I think so too. I'm just really bad at this matchup.
That was a really good nair because it's so good at shield poking, so you kind of let him shorten on his own shield. I think the rising up airs could be pretty good there. Because his up air is so wide horizontally, like at the top, that you can oftentimes kind of come at someone from an angle. Like you back air there, but had you done a rising up air, since you were moving in with it, it was probably going to catch him as well. And
Right.
since it was a purple, it was also probably going to kill.
Mm.
And while up air is your fastest aerial in terms of first active frame, so like even if you do miss it, you might be able to still just jump away right after because he's still probably gonna be respecting that option. He could in theory hit you if he's like super perfect about it, but I doubt he's gonna be, especially because he already had the jump buffered here or getting ready for it, so he was focused on something else.
Right.
I know you don't like blues at low percent.
No, I don't. For what I don't know why I just find them more useful later on. I don't know.
That's fair. It's management's one of those things where you kind of just do it on your own. I personally like them because of the down throw combos. You get more damage and you get a lot out of back throw. But I know other
Right.
Olimar players prefer different lineups. So this is something I've noticed a bit from your recoveries that I think is actually rather bad. Because the way you're going about handling your Pikmin is you're putting in more effort than you need to be able to recover. So I don't know if you know this, but when Olimar gets knocked away, his Pikmin obviously trail behind him and they take a little bit to get to you. So their weight affects how fast they get to you. So how purple's faster,
Right.
heavier for up B, it's going to get to you later. So in this instance, you get down to fared. Red and yellow, they're coming to you faster than purple. So what that means is you can get rid of them faster. So by the time the purple gets to you, you have a purple on hand, and you don't need to burn other Pikmin. You don't need to whistle. You don't need to do anything to side B. And like I said when you were earlier in that Joker set, you don't need 3 Pikmin off stage.
Right.
Unless you're like all the way up there and you're controlling it or something like that.
Right.
So
Right.
right here is where you could be like, okay, you whistle, which pulls the purple back to you. But what you could have done is like throw the red, throw the yellow,
And then have the
maybe
purple
jump or
ready.
something, and then have the purple. And since you're gonna have your jump, you can then maybe drift in a little bit, jump, throw a purple side B, and then maybe if he shields it, up B, come in, re-grab it, aerial him or something like that. But instead of
Right.
whistling, now what you're doing is you jump and then you whistle again because you want to get that purple in front. And the problem with that is now you've wasted like time when you're off stage instead of getting your lineup to where you had the purple to begin with. You kind of took the long road to get the purple in front. You were like, all right, I have to whistle, I have to do this. So not only do you have the purple in front with extra time, but now you also have other Pikmin that are going to slow down your B usage.
Right. And it probably telegraphs what I'm gonna do
Yeah.
too.
So instead of letting, you can get a really natural, quick, fluid way to get a purple in front, dump some Pikmin, recover fluidly. You don't want to be whistling all the time. Obviously, there are times where you want to do it. I don't want to
Right.
tell you not to
Right.
do it. But on average, if purples are going to come to its last, we can really use that to our benefit because we can get the other colors out of there quicker. We can get what we want. The purple and the yellow, especially, are like the two most valuable ones when you're off stage. Yellow's because range, purple because side B. So
Right.
just watch out on the whistles when you're off stage. Really try and make the most out of the situation. Like right there, you threw the purple, it missed. You up B with two Pikmin. He's like, you're dead.
Mm-hmm. See, I actually had confidence like there.
Yeah, yeah. I saw you go for that, and I think probably one because Incineroar is a little bit less intimidating than a Joker.
Right.
But yeah, no, and that kind of confidence is what you want to bring into your play all the time.
Right.
And like right there as well, it was a good example of like you kind of just like you. Oh my bad. You threw the purple and then you're like, let me come in with a fair because you know that purple generates some level of shield pressure. And what's he gonna do?
Right.
You're spacing a fair, because yeah, you're falling with it, which is good. You might not be technically close to the ground, but it's a yellow spaced fair, so he's no way shield grabbing it. If he drops shield, he gets hit. If he holds shield, great. You just hit his shield. He can't do anything about it. And, you're setting up that pressure. You're understanding how those block strings work. You're a smart guy. You've been playing Olimar long enough to know how to do these like more elaborate setups. That's not just like hit.
Right.
And that's what you really want to be doing with Olimar because you can kind of do a lot with that if you look at all the different
Oh, for
ways.
sure. Like, I find it so bizarre that I play. I don't know. I'm way worse in this game than I was in 4, but the character's like way better.
Yeah,
So
you probably just haven't found the more comfortable rhythm that you can play at and really understanding how far you can push this character. Because
right.
you do respect more than you kind of need to. That sour spot nerf hurts us every day, man. On the SNS,
Yeah,
dude,
that
you're
would have
like,
killed before.
you're like, oh, I got him. Nope, sour spot.
Yeah. I could have pivot grabbed there.
Yeah, you could have. You could have. Another example of like where an up air would have helped really good, and especially because it's that yellow, right? So like he jumps up
Yeah.
there, he's falling, he's getting hit easy up air if you catch him. It's so big, it's so wide. It's like
Mhm.
think of it almost like a link up air where you're just like, hey, you have to respect this giant hitbox, and there's nothing they can do about it. Like they can
Right.
air dodge, but if he air dodges, okay, then you'll probably you'll probably frame trap him or something like that, or if not, you're gonna hit him. But it's a lot more likely that you're gonna catch him. You want to use bear more for the horizontal, the slightly up and above, or like slightly
Mhm.
above and below when it's on that side of you. Whereas up air is kind of just like you're above me, or even slightly to the side of me, you're probably gonna get hit.
Right.
Oh, classic spot dodge up smash.
Yep. That's definitely the classic.
So like here, you have two purples. I want to, you're definitely not like you've changed up your playstyle some, but it's ever so minor, right? Like and this is something a lot of Olimars do with two purples, so it's not like just a
Mhm.
you thing.
Yeah.
When you have the two, you're so much more powerful. You can create such absurd shield pressure. And you can kind of just the thing that makes it really broken is that it's like never the same two things. It's not like, oh, Fox nared my shield and then he like, jabbed or something. It's like, oh, he hit me here and then he slightly changed up his timing so I can't always respond to it the same. And then since Purple's side B bounces off shield in this game, it's actually really broken because when a Pikmin bounces off shield, you can immediately reuse it. So you can throw a Pikmin, it bounces, and guess what? You can run into an aerial with it. So if they drop shield, okay, well they're getting hit. If you space a fair, well they're not punishing it because it's a purple fair spaced. So there's these
Mhm.
ways to create these elaborate sets of pressure. Whereas you're kind of you've cranked it up a little bit. You're like, okay, I can throw a couple side Bs, I can get a little bit more aggro, but you're not like understanding that when you throw one purple, you kind of already got to know the what the outcome could be in any given situation. If you hit him, you need to know where he's going to go. If it hits a shield, you need to know what's going to happen. And that's so like you can throw one and then throw another one and already have an idea of what's going to happen. And that's something that you have to train. It's definitely a skill you refine over time. But like
Right.
that's where you want to be your most confident with these purples, understanding all these different outcomes and kind of going, okay, I'm going to pressure you so much in these situations. I'm going to keep all of your options limited, and I'm just going to put you in a bad spot. And that's what makes
Right.
the two purples so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, there was definitely. Told me to definitely fish for the two purple setup. Like it's.
Yeah, it's unreal how good it is. Like he's still, in my opinion, probably just like a top 3 character with 2 purples. Because like just what he can do on people is insane. That's a good pivot grab. Something you got to be careful with in Cinema, especially, is his up air is so quick. It's really easy to mistime your own options. Like if you're trying to whistle or something like that. So sometimes it's better off just like neutral air dodge through him, or just like try and take a more horizontal approach where you're not directly trying to land on him.
Right.
Went for a dash grab there, which is pretty risky, especially with 3 Pikmin. Um, so there, you went for an up throw, and while I don't think forward throw would have killed, you know, it's an important mix-up to keep in mind. Like, Incineroar is a big boy. He ain't going to die that easy.
Right.
And he was only at 120, so, it's not surprising he didn't die. But that's an instance where you maybe could have hit him with a DI mix-up and gone for forward throw, and had he DI'd wrong, he's dead.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And that's like Olimar is good because like all of his throws have a very distinct purpose. Down throw being your combo throw, up throw is your main kill throw. Forward throw is your mix-up because the DI forward is the exact opposite of up throw.
Right.
And it killed the legends fast, and then back throw is your positional advantage and highest damaging throw. So on those instances where you have a character like Incineroar 2 who can have a bit of an exploitable recovery at times, going for the forward throw in there, if you're not certain, and I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know all of the kill percents for up throw on every character. You know, if you were like, when is up throw going to kill Incineroar, I'd be like, I don't know.
Right.
I have these guesstimates obviously, but just from
Right.
watching this and then watching that Joker set, you definitely don't have the strongest idea of when these up throws are going to kill. So just getting a bit more comfortable with that, going, okay, on these heavier characters, on these certain stages, I'm going to need to work a little bit more. I'm going to need to get higher percent. That's when you can feel more confident going for these forward throws or something like that, and not always just going straight for the up throw just because they're at a decent percent.
Right. Yeah, because I'm not gonna get anything off up throw right now.
Yeah,
Anyway.
like you're just putting them up there, getting some damage, and then having to reset really.
Right.
That was another example of just like not being confident enough. You kind of hesitated because like so what you did here is you did the quick like foxtrot back and forth, and then that's the perfect time to down smash. Especially I'm a big advocate on down smash, especially double hit because it's so strong, does so much damage. Doesn't kill the best, but it's good option coverage because it covers both sides. You can do a lot of damage. And here you kind of did the movement to bait him into rolling, but then you aren't confident, you aren't ready to react to it, you aren't ready to go, and then you wait,
Right.
and then you delay it and try and go for a pivot grab as opposed to being ready and attacking.
Yeah, I think like I was saying before, like I think I'm just not patient enough, and because of that, I just like that.
Yeah, I think it's a mix of not being impatient enough sometimes, but also being too patient other times. You're too scared to
Right.
commit. You have to find that perfect balance of like, okay, I can attack now, or I'm in the lead, I'm in the advantage, I'm the one kind of dictating what to do. I'm scaring him into rolling. Be decisive, know when to attack, right? Like
Right. For sure.
I posted a clip on Twitter the other day where I was fighting Uncivil Ninja, the Shulk player, and
Yeah.
I got him off stage, and I down air him. He techs it because it was stage spike, and then he like jumps out obviously, and he drifts back in, and then I jab him. I jab one him off stage, right? And at that point, I know what he's gonna do. He's gonna come into stage, he's gonna air dodge into stage, and then I immediately run back and I start down smashing and starting down smash, and he rolls in because I knew the moment I hit him, I'd already like I had committed to knowing that he was going to do that. He could have not done that obviously, and I could have potentially got punished, but I knew
Right.
based on all the different factors, his percent, me being in the advantage state, me hitting him, understanding how players respond to my information, that he rolled in, and I was like there, and I down smashed him, and then I ended up taking a stock right after. But it was like I was confident in what I did. And you got to have that. And I know I keep saying
Right.
this, and it sounds a bit redundant, but
Yeah.
it's like
No.
just understanding like Olimar is a character that the more you understand everything, the better you're going to be. You know how someone responds to every bit of information you do. You can always have an answer, and that's the nice thing about him. You're like, if you know what to do, you don't get lost. It's just knowing what to do is the tough part.
Right. When you're reading ledge options, do you like wait until you see the animation and then throw your
Um,
forward smash out, or do you kind of?
Yes and no. Sometimes it obviously depends on certain characters. You know, if someone has like a
Mhm.
reflector, I might be a bit more hesitant to do something like that. But it's like you're kind of doing these little tricks to kind of juke them into doing it. You know, like I said there with like the little like foxtrot movement, whatever it was. You know,
Right.
you're like, okay, I'm doing this. You're running in, running out, and he's like, oh no, I need to roll if he's running in, and then you're like, all right, I got you, down smash or up smash or whatever,
Right.
or run at ledge and maybe like short hop dare, like the smash four where you like dare off ledge and then down smash or whatever when they got it from the ledge, things like that. Um, but it's a mix of reacting. Sometimes you just have to go for a read because you can't always
Right.
react to something.
Yeah.
And just being more confident and understanding, like looking at all the information, their stock, their percent, how often they've been on the legend, going, okay, I'm gonna make an educated guess on what you're gonna do now, and it's not gonna be raw reaction.
Right. Yeah, because I don't think most people can react to standard
Yeah,
get up
yeah,
just off.
it's not like it's hard. You know, if they
Right.
roll, you can react if you're ready for it, right? If they do a lot of
Right.
things, you
Right.
can react. But there are, I think, one or two ledge options that just aren't reactable. At least not for like Olimar's not fast enough to where if you reacted, you would be able to do it. Like if you were playing someone like, you know, Fox or someone, you could probably react and do it because you're so
Right.
fast. But with Olimar, you have to be a bit more preemptive about it. Smash, though, I think is a fine stage. You know, just I don't really mind the stage against Incineroar. I honestly think it's just a great Olimar stage.
Hmm.
I honestly notice you don't even use down smash a lot, and that's something I find with a lot of Olimars. I know
Hmm.
most of them don't, because it doesn't kill. It's not your killing smash a lot of the time. Um, and I know a lot of them go like, well, what is the good purpose of it? Would you say there's a specific reason you don't use it often, or do you just it's never really come to
I
mind?
haven't. I do it in friendlies. I don't do it enough in tournament. I know it's good for catching landings at those weird angles that
Yeah,
forward smash doesn't.
yeah. The
So it's more of a confidence thing in tournament more than like I don't know it's a good move because I actually do
yeah,
sometimes do it in friendlies.
yeah, yeah. I think it's one of those moves. The one of the power of down smash is that it covers the ambiguity of where they're going to be because it hits on both sides. So you're never
Hmm.
kind of like, oh no, what do I do? And it's actually as safe as I think forward smash in a lot of ways on shield. So it's obviously still unsafe to a lot of people, but it's not super crazy unsafe. If you miss, it's got a faster first active frame, which is nice by a couple.
I was about to ask, is it have less and
It
lag than
is
forward
your
smash?
least since they nerfed up smash. It's actually your fastest smash now. Not only in
Oh, okay.
startup. Yeah. So actually, let me pull up the numbers for you real quick. It is the
Yeah, no
same
problem.
exact frame data as Smash 4 down smash. Funny enough, which was also the fastest in that game.
Yeah.
Um, so down smash comes out frame 10 compared to 11 of forward and a 12 of up. And its first active frame is 39. 38 total frames compared to the 39 of up smash now since post patch, and
Hmm.
the actually I think it's like four. Actually no, I think it's 40 something for forward smash since they nerfed it as well.
Yeah, I
But
think it's
it's
like 42.
yeah, it's like it's definitely your fastest with down smash. So not only do you get you get to be able to hit on both sides, if you get really good at it, this is something that I've also just don't see a lot of Olimars do.
Hmm.
Learning where your opponent's going to be, like when that Incineroar rolled in last game, if you were on top of him, double hit down smash, that's big damage, right? You get these shield
Right.
break setups, you get these 30, 40+% damage hits that put them in disadvantage. It's obviously really good at two framing and hitting ledge get ups, especially when you're fighting someone who's at like a higher percent, this 100 something percent. If they have less ledge invincibility, if they're not thinking about that, you just clip them with a down smash. So it can help
Right.
there. It's your easiest smash to hit out of like a neutral air or something because it's your fastest one. It's pretty decent out of like a parry or something because it's your fastest one. So it's just like your quickest like get off me smash, and it's the easiest
Hmm.
to hit. It's so hard to miss with down smash compared to like up smash where you're like, oops, they were behind me. Forward smash where you're like, oh, they were behind me. Like it's just like everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. The hitboxes on down smash are
Yeah.
really good. Like I always use it against like Lucina a
Hmm.
lot because it catches those weird angles like where she'll beat up smash or she'll maneuver around forward smash
Yeah,
by
because
catching
it's
those
almost like
angles.
not directly a 45-degree angle, but kind of like up there a little bit, especially if you have a yellow. It's so
Right.
good at being like get off. You almost use it like an anti-air in some cases because it's not high enough
Yeah.
to where like it'll clank if they do something, but it'll kind of catch their feet as they're coming in.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good use for it. I definitely think it's something worth experimenting with because there's a lot of different ways you can mix it up. It can be such a high damage move, and you can also tech chase really well with it because the angle it sends at. Kind of opting for a more passive edge guard there. I mean, that's definitely like just tends to be your style. I found, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just being a bit more like you can still play passive and maybe go for some ledge trapping as opposed to like letting them get back on ledge. You don't have to go off stage if you're not feeling comfortable, but just being like, let
Hmm.
me down tilt the ledge, let me down smash the ledge, let me do a quick down air on stage at the ledge, or when you're on the ledge, let me do some movement or something to bait you out into commit, as opposed to me letting you get up and then go from there.
Right.
Oh, so close to sniping him.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah, he died anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So,
true.
yeah. Yeah. I was hoping it would.
So like, I actually want to point out that is a really good time where I might have gone for a down smash. So let's watch what happens. So you forward air
Yeah.
or you side B, then you get up attack, and he actually misses the punish, and then he whiffs with a grab, and he was probably gonna go for a shield or something, and you could have potentially gone in, or after he whiffed the grab, you could have gone in, and you had a purple ready, you had a red ready, gone in, charged down smash. If he's not super ready for that, you can then potentially hit him there, things like that. I'm just
Right.
like kind of preying off like their natural response to pick a defensive option after they attack. So
Right.
that's a good example in where you could use it. But I think that's something that once you become a bit more confident in your gameplay over time, and you're just like, all right, I'm ready to swing now. I'm ready to call you out now. That's something you start implementing a bit more.
Hmm. Yeah, he's rolled like 3 times.
Yeah, down tilt cross up. Unfortunate. Yeah, right. Like these last few interactions, he's just hit you because you're kind of focusing more on the movement than you are on your actual hitboxes, and it's letting him kind of just be like, okay, if you want to jump around and not throw anything out, I'm right here with a hitbox. I don't know how that didn't hit you.
Rolled.
Oh, I just thought it would call you on startup, but I guess you managed to get out in time. You gotta watch out
Yeah.
for Darkest
Yeah, I
Lariat.
went to up smash and I guess he just didn't come out in time.
Yeah, well, that was probably it to be honest, because he ended with no lag, and I think it's like a frame 7-ish move, so it's pretty
Okay.
fast. It's got the invincibility on parts of the body. I don't know exactly what frame that starts up. So if you're like
Right.
say attacking at the same time, if you're not going for a tilt or a jab, he's probably just gonna outspeed you.
Hmm.
Another thing you could try doing at the ledge as well, like, and this is something I briefly mentioned earlier when we were talking about the interaction where you side beat into the fair on the Joker. Um,
Right.
you're not like you have a lot of creativity with up B, so you don't need to go grab ledge here. You can side B and then up B and then like drift above him and then do like a space to down air on his shield and then drift away, or a space to
Right.
back air or something like that. There's a lot of freedom. Think of it almost like a third jump slash hover in the same move, to where you can
Hmm.
just like go, okay, now I'm gonna burn my third resource as opposed, after my double jump, and then now I've got this extra way to mix this up, and you're not always having to keep it linear, go to the ledge, and do things like that.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that revenge at all.
Gotcha. Honestly, I'm not. I usually don't worry about revenge too much. Like if he gets it, yeah, it can be annoying, but then it's usually like
Right.
at that point, I'm like, all right, let me switch up my play style. Let me play a bit more defensive, try and land this grab, or put enough side B damage on him where it just takes away revenge. Or if he hits a Pikmin, it takes it away too. Right there, I think you could have probably nared, done a rising nair as opposed to the side B, just to try and catch him.
Right.
Yep, that was a good example of like he got to there so fast and then up there so quick that you were probably like, all right, I have time to really get down there and figure out what I'm doing. And he's like, nope,
Yeah.
caught you. So just when you're
Yep.
fighting that Incineroar, be careful. You kind of have to be a little early, it feels like, with your defensive option, and then you'll be able
Mhm.
to get out of there in time. Town and City also a fine option. I feel like if you need room to run, which or just kind of like space yourself out and not feel super smothered, I think this is also a good alternative. I don't really like Kalos as a player, so I think Town and City is
Right. Yeah.
definitely
I don't
more
care
my
much for
speed.
Callus myself, to be honest.
Yeah, it I know some Olimars like it a lot, but it's just I'd rather go to other big stages. Honestly, it feels like you start out pretty good against him. It's just it tends to spiral out of control in certain interactions.
Yeah. Like right now, I got 100%
Yeah,
lead.
you're just kind of playing your game, taking it slow. You're not rushing anything like that. Really good pivot grab on his dash tech. You were kind of using your own spacing there, kind of like an incremental bait where you're like, yeah, I'm hanging around here. It's alright, man. And since Incineroar
Right.
is also extremely slow on the ground, he has the slowest run speed, I believe, or one of them. Um,
Yeah, definitely one of them
so
for
you
sure.
can just like you can almost match that. Like, yeah, Olimar has the worst initial dash, but he's also just so slow that you can kind of you don't need to like play a constant in the air game or something like that. If you're struggling to kill, you can definitely wait till you find a smash, but once again, just the aerials, like being ready to call him out. If you read he's gonna jump especially, just like catch him with a fair, catch him with an up air, something like that.
Right.
So here he's kind of just like hitting you around. He gets you with a down throw. It looks like you DI that in, probably predicting like a forward throw or something like that.
Yeah, I think I was.
You
Yeah.
should be able to react to forward throw because he kind of spins around a bit. So I would stay,
Right.
I would say instinctively DI out in those instances at those higher
Okay.
percents especially. And then if you see like the twirl, that's when you go, okay, no DI in, try and live. But then you whistle the nair here, and then you kind of don't do anything. And it lets wait. I don't think you actually whistle the nair here. I think you end up just getting hit.
Yeah,
Because
I
yeah.
think so
So
too.
you like
That's. I think
he
I was trying to.
yeah
Yeah.
he down throws you, and then you don't you kind of just like oh you whistle early, and then he catches you. Um,
Hmm.
and that was one of those things where you probably weren't able to distinguish exactly what was happening. You kind of almost uh, like flinched in a sense where you were like, okay, I need to whistle. He didn't hit me now. I need to try and do something. Instead of recognizing, okay, I'm at 90 something percent. He's probably not falling off of dare. Maybe I'll double jump away. Maybe I'll air dodge past him. Something like that.
Hmm.
So I don't know if you know this. Jab jab is really weird about following up into throws. It's very character dependent. It's very percent
Hmm.
dependent. Um,
Yeah, I definitely knew that. I just wasn't sure if it's
yeah.
in or one of them.
Something if you didn't know that didn't doesn't necessarily apply in this exact instance, but if you do have a Pikmin
Mhm.
on them, it actually can make it true, like just straight up true in a lot of cases. Because of the
Okay.
extra hit lag from the Pikmin. It's just a couple frames, but a lot like a good example is I think on like Wolf at certain percents, you can just straight up jab 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 if he's got a Pikmin on him because he's stuck there for so long because of the extra Pikmin hit lag, and it can also
Right.
make the jab jab grab true in a lot of instances. But at those low
Okay.
percents where you go for the jab jab grab, it can be a bit risky. If you're unsure, you could try jab jab dash attack, and it's probably going to catch him if he spot dodges. Or you could try jab jab F smash or jab jab down tilt or something like that. But
Right.
it's scary to go for the grab because your dash grab is so committal in this game, like even more so than Smash 4, that if you miss it, you end up running a big price. I still go for it time to time too, and I miss it. It's just it feels like it should work in a lot of cases, but just
Right.
trying to work on that awareness and going, okay, he's at such a low percent, he's this character, it doesn't work.
Yeah, Jab Jab Fair is another option,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. If you read his jump, or like if he's a tall character, if he's doing something, if he's not ready for it, you can just catch him. There's a lot of different
Right.
ways. Like you have a lot of freedom with what you want to do out of jab, because it's not necessarily true all the time, but it's kind of like in your ballpark where it's like, okay, let me respond to how you react.
I feel like a down throw is another one of those things where, like, if it's not a red, I feel like sometimes you straight up can't get the fair. Sometimes
It's
too.
you can't sometimes. Depending on the
Yeah.
color, there's so many factors that go into it. Did you dash grab? Did you pivot grab? Did you standing grab? Because those all actually have slight adjustments in the spacing between Olimar and the Pikmin that can affect your follow-ups.
Right.
You have them if they just DI out, they go so far. There are times where you can do it, and that's where you kind of got to be like, okay, I grabbed him at like 30. It's a blue especially. I'm just gonna down throw. If I down throw, I'll just go for a side B. Or
Right.
sometimes it's better to just go. All right, let me just back throw for the straight damage. I'm gonna get stage control, whatever. And it's one of those things that the more you play it, the more you really try and pay attention to it. You're gonna be able to identify. All right, I don't think down throw is gonna work here because I'm not probably not gonna
Right.
be able to follow up after it. That was unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like I could be contesting some
Yeah,
of these double
yeah.
jumps
There's
with
even when you're not, even when he's not jumping, you're kind of in the air. You're just a lot of the times you're just so focused on landing that you're kind of tunnel visioning. So I would just like obviously recommend whenever you're playing there. I definitely think you should have pummeled.
hmm
Pummeling is even just a couple at that percent, the one, two, maybe a third, depending on how high they are. I would probably gone for like two or three here. Just
hmm
to get the little bit extra, just in case, because you're on town. Town has the highest ceiling, I think. Maybe
Yeah.
Callus might, but it's like super tall. Fighting a heavy character, you want to be sure that you're gonna be able to kill him. So just milking that little extra percent, because there's no way he's gonna mash out of there in time. At
Right.
least not for like one. Once again, just gotta, just being a bit more confident in your ability to just like ledge trap him or do something. You're letting him get back for free so much a lot of the time that it's making
Right.
you're not, you're kind of cutting yourself shorts more than he's like stopping you.
Right.
I think you could have back aired there as well. Like you got up and then there you kind of just hit the ground and keep running. You're not concerned with attacking. You're more concerned with getting away.
That and I think like I said before, I think I hit buttons too much and don't like react. So if I had saw the
Okay.
backer
Yeah, yeah.
instead of yeah.
Okay, so you're not like you weren't so much prepared for it to do it. You were kind of waiting to react, and then at that point it's a little too slow or something, and then
Right, exactly.
okay.
Yeah. And I feel like that happens a lot. Like and that's also again why I get hit by like dash attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's something that you just got to keep working on, play the game more, really try and pay attention to, and kind of be like, okay,
mhm.
Incineroar is this close to me and near the ledge. It's likely he's going to maybe try and ledge trump or something like that.
Right. And I also think part of it might be Ultimate's input buffer too. Like because it's like 6 frames, so it's a little slower.
Yeah,
So I'm not used to it.
it's a little weird for sure.
Yeah.
I'll be real, you had no business winning that game.
I had no business at all winning that game.
But no, you kind of just, it was one of those things where your patience kind of just paid off eventually because you're like, I'm just going to keep resetting until I find an opening. I'm not, I don't want to commit to anything.
If you want, you can just skip to the next game because that's the one I lose anyway. I feel like those are more like
Okay,
important.
we can do that if
Yeah,
you want.
yeah.
So Battlefield, this is a stage I would probably ban against in Sonora. Either that, does your rule set run Yoshi's Story, the melee one?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, I would
I think
probably
I
ban.
actually think that's what I banned against it.
Yeah,
I can't remember why I banned,
I would
but
definitely ban that. If you had to ban one, it would probably be that over this. Do you run
mhm.
both Yoshis or just the triplat one?
Just the tripod.
Okay. Do you have one or two bans?
Two.
Okay. I'm not sure what you ban. I think triplats is one of the things you want to avoid the most against him.
Okay.
Only other stage probably being Yoshi's Island Brawl, and assuming you're in a tournament that does run that, because like Incineroar kills so well on the side, you just don't want to mess with that.
Right.
But if you have to go, yeah, Battlefield would probably be the better one out of the two triplats. But if you can, I would recommend trying to ban both, because likely anything else they're running isn't going to be as bad. Just because his up air is so good, his juggles are so good, you're kind of you can do it here. It's not like it's super polarizing. You're going to lose all the time, but it can make it a bit
Mhm.
difficult.
Right.
If you are going to be on a stage with triplats, especially, you can start doing those like short hop up airs and trying to almost shark the platforms. And that's going to just provide you a little bit of extra pressure. And he's just not going to be able to punish them. Like, if you're poking his shield, there's no way Incineroar is going to hit you. If you're spacing it, like, right below the platform so you're falling.
Yeah, like when he's jumping between these platforms, I feel like I could be fairing him or something.
Yeah, you honestly even rising there, if you're unsure of like where he's gonna be and you want to put out a bit of a longer hitbox that's just gonna be able to potentially catch him, like that's super good because you can just occupy all that space.
Yeah.
Back throw, definitely something. Once again just encourage start maybe trying to work in a pummeler too at those higher percents. Just more damage is never gonna be a bad thing.
Right.
And like obviously, if you're really unsure, you can try going for like if you can just go for the throw or something. But I think at least testing the waters and seeing how comfortable they are at pummeling these types of things. Just a lot of dead space where I feel like you could be side being or like more and forcing him to respond
Mm-hmm.
to something and then maybe approaching a little bit with it, kind of like inching your way towards him, and either taking stage control passively or like noticing that he's committing at the wrong time and then punishing him.
Right.
Another example of just kind of like focusing too much on the movement, not getting those aerials out, because you definitely had the time to be like, oh, you're near me, fair, or something like that. Because you had a yellow, especially,
Right.
right? No one had the range.
Right. Like that. That was an example of what I was talking about.
Oh, with
If
the
you
the
go,
platform.
yeah, he back aired me, but I thought I was safe to up air.
Yeah, yeah, because he fast fell there. You were kind of because what you did there is you went all in for your up air, and you were kind
Mm-hmm.
of in that space. Had you gone for maybe a short hop up air, and instead of
Mm-hmm.
going where he was at the moment, been ready to go where he's gonna be, you probably would have been a bit
Right.
safer there. So because you,
Do you,
hmm?
do you think that's how like up airs should generally be used? Is like not so much where they are, but where they're going. Like, would you say it's
Yeah,
more of
I
like
I think so in a lot of cases. You can definitely because it's a little bit of like a sex kick. Obviously, it's not active for the longest time, but it's got a little bit of a linger on it.
right?
Especially compared to like Olimar's other aerials, except for Dare
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So you kind of want to be like, because you're slow too. So if they're already right there, then you might not be able to get there in time. So
Right.
instead,
Yeah,
be
that makes
like, you know
sense.
what, I'm gonna go over here, and you're gonna drift into that. And when you're going when those all-in up airs, that's more of like a hard read or a combo, as opposed to like
Right.
a landing, like catching them or something.
Right. I feel like I should definitely get hit less if I do use them like
Yeah,
that. To
and
be
because when you're
honest.
short hopping, it's auto canceling too. So you're just like you're landing with almost no lag.
To get the auto cancel for up air, don't you have to like wait for the animation to finish? I know Omar like falls on his butt. Like if you do it
If
like
you do it at the wrong, if you rising up air, you're fine.
okay.
It's like it's just like in Smash 4 too, how like you would manage your Pikmin by like running at someone and doing a short hop up air, like rising up air to cycle a Pikmin. It's that same thing
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, it's another one of those I can
Battlefield's
afford
got a
for
bit of
sure.
a fat ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly surprised he didn't die from that. Oh, I guess he was at like 130 something, so maybe not.
Yeah.
But
I thought with rage I might have been able to do it, but
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I probably would have gone for it there too, especially in the heat of the moment type of deal.
mm,
Good up air. Almost didn't kill because it was blue. Because up air is so
yeah,
weak in this game compared to Smash 4.
it really is. But it's nice that at least it has the transcendent
Oh yeah,
priority and
that's it's
everything.
because yeah, you'll keep hitting them. They just might not always die.
Right.
I see why you went for the get up attack there. I think probably regular get up would have been better if anything, because you wouldn't have extended your hurt box that much.
Right.
But or maybe going for like a drop down jump into like an up B or something like that. But you got to be
Mm-hmm.
careful near the ledge because he's got such strong attacks, especially if he's hitting tippers on things like forward tilt or F smash. Another thing I'm noticing is it feels like you're not always super aware of like where your Pikmin will be when you're side being, because I feel like your accuracy with it's not the best, and I know you're not always going to be landing like the hits of them, but sometimes you're just like throwing them at a certain spacing and it's just like outright missing, and then you go for another one and it'll miss, and you're not so
Right.
much being like, okay, I know where this is going to be or where it's going to hit him, so being a bit more aware of that is something to work on in the future as well. So you just know like,
So like just accuracy,
yeah, here, let
basically.
me go back. There's a good example of what I'm talking about. It might be a little bit farther back. Yeah, here. All right, I think it's going up. Like that. Like you throw, and then you're like, okay, all right, and then you miss, and then you miss, and then he like, cause he goes down, and you weren't like so much aware of where like it was gonna be. So essentially, you're just kind of
Right.
like throwing out like missing lasers at that point with like a
I
fox or
think
something.
I think the red one
The red one
made
was
a
definitely the
little
down
sense.
tilt.
Yeah.
But like the purple, and then if you miss the purple, it's fine and things like that.
Hmm.
But maybe just be ready to follow with like a forward air or something like that, or a down tilt. Be ready to call him out,
Right.
because like if you're not doing anything to him, it's a lot easier for him to just run in and then catch you. Honestly, don't be afraid to just kind of like start spacing with those back airs when they're at that, with like the double purple especially.
Yeah,
That
and
was
I just
unfortunate.
SD,
Um,
unfortunately.
yeah, like when you have the purples there, you could like back air, and like he's slow, he's not gonna be able to do too much about it, and he kind of has to respect it on shield. Um,
Right.
and honestly, I feel like you were overall pretty good in the general like way you were handling both these sets. Biggest thing is obviously the decisiveness in your gameplay, understanding when you need to attack and being confident in it. You can be
Mhm.
more patient, really find your own rhythm how you're playing, whether it be aggressive or whatever, but you need to be confident all the time. You need to know exactly what you want and when you need to go for it.
Right.
Um,
Do
you
you,
know,
do you have any like advice for how to play more confident? Maybe just
it really comes down to just like play Olimar more, like play the game more with him, and just keep putting yourself in these uh, areas where like you have to be confident if you want to win. Like honestly, try playing more aggressive for a bit. Get in
okay.
there, put yourself in this dangerous spot where you can't like second guess yourself, right? You have to know, and that's
Right.
and that's going to help you kind of be ready to be decisive, get in there, swing all the time, and then from there,
Right.
once you have a bit better understanding, you'll be like, all right, I've been a little bit more ballsy. Now I'm going to try and play a bit more reserved, go back to my more standard traditional playstyle that I like, but I'll be
Okay.
more comfortable in incorporating those gameplay
And,
elements.
and if I'm more aggressive, I feel like I'll know like more aerial
Yeah,
spacing
you're
and
gonna
when
you're
I
gonna
can
be a
like.
lot more comfortable spacing your aerials. You're gonna be knowing what you can kill with a bit easier, how you can space these like back airs, how like you can be pushing the limits, so to speak, of your hitboxes and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate the lesson.
no
So.
problem. I'll definitely have this stuff up soon.